Okay. Sammy, how about you?
Exactly what Derek said. We need to see it accelerate or capitulate a little bit before we can start, before we can expect it to bottom. And notice it's actually breaking down on the intraday. It looks lower at the moment, but again, I understand why. You'd start bottom picking because you might not catch the bottom. Sometimes it's hard to catch the bottom, but as of right now, it doesn't look ready to me.
Okay. All right. So just quick recap. JR is starting to dip his toe in. Derek is desperate for more blood, and Sammy's also on the sidelines here. Okay. So again, what we're going to go over today, we already went over Nvidia. Is it dead money? Looks like we have a little mixed reaction on that. State of Bitcoin. Is a Santa Claus rally coming? Our biggest trading mistakes, our favorite names, and of course, it's time to play Two Truths and a Lie. So this is how it works, everybody. If it's your first time here, we're going to make three statements. One of them is a lie. Try to guess the lie. And today's theme is QQQ. And again, we're just talking about percentage returns to keep it simple. Derek and Sammy are sort of neck and neck in the lead here. JR is not having a great year with Two Truths and a Lie, but I have a feeling he's going to turn it around today. Okay, so again, everybody out there, which one is the lie?
Can I just say one thing real quick?
Of course.
I think that the real technical case for starting to buy Nvidia here is that every single major technical indicator is lining up. We just need a little bit of selling panic, and they're gonna pop the cork on the champagne bottle in biblical fashion. You from the May 23rd breakaway gap, you're coming right back to the top of the value area in the 2 standard deviation regression channel. You're at the very bottom of the ascending line, and you're at quarterly anchored VWAP. Like all these things, that would typically indicate continuation of a bull trend are coming into confluence as we speak. I completely agree with the rest of the guys here that what really makes for a nice bounce, a pop of the cork on the champagne bottle, is a good old fashioned panic. But in my opinion, the chart is set for a bounce and continuation higher and shorter.
Excellent. Since I'm long Nvidia, I'm going to say, JR, thank you. Okay, now back to our little game here. I think JR was killing time. Okay, all right, okay. So again, guys, everybody pick out which one is the lie. Number one, APP is the number one performing QQQ name this year. Number two, SPY is beating the Qs this year. And number three, Intel is the worst QQQ name this year. Type the number of the lie in the chat.
It's obviously 2 or 3.
Karen is saying 1 is the lie. It's saying 1 is the lie.
Nope.
I want to say 2 is the lie.
I'm gonna say the SPY is beating the Qs. That's true. So I would say the 3 is the lie.
Okay, Derek, how about you?
It's got to be 2 or 3.
I'm saying 2, but everyone's making me second guess myself.
I'm saying 3.
Okay, Sammy's saying 3, Derek's saying 2, and JR, where are you?
I mean, 1 seems like the lie, but I'm gonna go with 3.
Okay, so we have 2 winners today, which is wonderful. JR is finally a winner. The lie is number 3. Intel is the worst QQQ name this year. Reality, it's Moderna is the worst. And I know Sammy likes Moderna, which is very, very interesting. So Sammy and I have had this great discussion. Sammy picks like the worst stocks in the world, like Twilio and Zoom, and they do amazingly well. They're like the worst stocks ever. And Sammy just always manages to find them when they're right about to turn up. So
the garbage man.
Yeah, Sammy is the garbage man. That is his new nickname. And yeah, everybody, APP, nobody really follows it. It's up like 600% this year. Okay, all right. So let's pivot. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Now, it seems like in the last couple of weeks, everybody's been predicting Bitcoin 100,000. It hit 99.8, I believe. So it was like right on the cusp. So JR, we'll start with you again. You predicted 91.5 and then 126. Do you think it's sort of just getting ready for another move here?
Yeah. So, you broke the cup and handle on the weekly. You put in a really strong igniting move, and now you have in what looks like to me a reaccumulative digestive type of pattern forming, and you may go sideways for a while. You have to also keep in mind that the open interest at 100,000 in the December options expiration is rather large, so they may keep this base going sideways for a while. But ultimately, the measured move target is around 126,000. Yeah.
Okay, Sammy, how about you? So, Sammy, you've been a big Bitcoin guy this year. How do you feel about Bitcoin here?
It looks good. The uptrend is still intact, so no reason to change the bias. I don't have a particular target in mind because it's at all-time high. So I'm not gonna there's no reference points. So I'm just gonna say it looks good, and I like it higher. That's it. I'm looking away from the camera because check out the UMAC. That's a climactic buy setup on the 5. Check it out. So I put it out in the chat room. So that's why. But yeah, Bitcoin looks good, looks healthy.
Okay. All right, Derrick, how about you? Are you still staying away from Bitcoin?
I haven't been staying away from it. I've been successfully shorting it. Last week, I think it got ahead of itself, and I'm not going to come out and say that I'm a bear. But first of all, the MSTR short last week that we were all over, I think as a group, I had started it, I think on Wednesday last week. Thursday, we got that gap up into 550 pre-market. I mean, that was one of the trades of the year, I really think, to the short side on that massive day 4 gap up. It was a $180 move to the downside all intraday. And that was with Bitcoin not even pulling back. So when I liquidated my MSTR position, I got back short that BITX. And that was a quick, couple day trade that worked well also. At this point, though, these things have satisfied that upside extension that I was taking advantage of. The charts overall are still bullish. They pulled back technically, but didn't break. So they do still look higher. I'm not going to be buying it because Bitcoin's worthless. But if it extends again, I'll look for another short.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about broader market. Everybody starts talking about Santa Claus rally. JR, you've been saying 6,700 for the S&P in Q1. I believe Wells Fargo put out a $7,000 SPX target for next year. Are you still bullish here?
Yeah, I think it's very likely after the Thanksgiving holiday here that we have a grind up into the rest of the year. Nothing's changed from last week.
Okay, Sammy, how about you? How are you feeling about market? You still like him?
The market, let me take a look. Bullish, but lost the momentum, at least, especially in the NASDAQ. I don't see much momentum at all. So again, bullish, but not much momentum at all. That's what I think.
Okay, Derrick, how about you? What are you thinking here?
I'm super bullish. I just think that we're seeing some rotation right now. It's like sell Nvidia, buy everything else. It almost seems like. I know the IWM isn't performing as well today either. It's pulled back a little bit, but I'm super bullish. I do think that the term Santa Claus rally is like the most overused term on Wall Street. I'm so glad I don't really watch CNBC except for when I'm in T3's office and Josh Leffler forces me to, because you're just going to start hearing Santa Claus rally from like the day after Christmas until the end of the year. That's not what it is. We are in a very seasonally bullish period, but really the Santa Claus rally is not this all-encompassing bull move that happens from, Thanksgiving to the end of the year. It's really meant to just be like this 1 week or so period that kind of happens from Christmas through New Year's or through a day or two after New Year's. Not like it's just. I think it's the most overused term in Wall Street, and I'm so excited to hear it said 10,000 times between now and the end of the year.
Okay, speaking of things that everybody's talking about too much, have you guys heard about Black Friday this week? You can learn about our Black Friday deals. Go to t3live.com/Black Friday. Forget sell all your stocks. Just come shopping with us. You can be like one of these little characters on the screen. t3live.com/Black Friday. Okay, so now we're going to get a little dark. We're going to talk about trading mistakes, bad things we've done. I will actually kick it off because most people out there think I'm perfect and I'm a billionaire, that I never do anything wrong. So I will just start with the stupidest thing I've ever done. I'll name 2 things. One was shorting GameStop calls on Friday and then waking up to giant losses on Monday. covering those calls and then watching them collapse. So I lost when I could have made, basically picking up pennies in front of the steamroller. The other was covered calls in 2009, buying like $10 stocks, selling them at 12 because I was short the calls, and then watching them go to 100. So I will just throw that out there. I've done many, 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 many stupid things. So, Sammy, we'll start with you. I remember I think you had a little adventure with Radio Shack a long time ago, but can you kind of go through one mistake you've made and how you corrected it?
I don't make any mistakes. I don't know what you're talking about. Kidding. So, Mike, you can you mentioned some mistakes that you've made, but you didn't tell us what your main mistake is. Meaning, we all make mistakes every day almost, probably. But what's the catalyst, or what's the driving force behind it? And I think for me personally, I grew up being into sports big time, and I had aspirations to be a professional athlete, like a lot of kids do, I guess. And I became very competitive as a result, became very driven. And I believe that's not a very good thing in trading. I know that sounds counterintuitive, because you want to be driven, you want to be a go-getter, you want to be whatever. Yes and no, because you also, in trading, you need to learn to flow with the market. You need to lay low when there's not a lot of opportunities. So that drive, that passion, that competitiveness that I have, I really do have that fire in the belly that people talk about. I really do have it when it comes to trading. And I feel like a lot of times when I should be taking it easy, relaxing, I am not. And I feel like that's my probably major issue to this day when it comes to trading, is that I'm too competitive, too want to see some action every day. It's become like an addiction. Maybe it is. So that's kind of an issue probably for me to this day still. Yeah, that's one of the mistakes, one of the major mistakes.
Okay, Sammy, I'm going to prescribe for you a mix of transcendental meditation and hot yoga. And I want you to stay away from the screens between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. for the next 60 trading days. I don't care what happens.
Yes, Doc.
You need to stay away. Okay, JR, we'll move on to you. Can you tell us about a mistake you've made, and tell us how you've sort of come back to it or corrected it?
I am the world champion gold medalist of making every mistake in the book. And any trader who says they're not really is just either not a trader or is lying through their teeth. There's a saying, time makes fools of us all. The market makes fools of us all, and the people who are left are humble enough to learn from their mistakes and try to repeat them as little as possible. Everything from checking multiple timeframes, confirmation volume, picking a stock with just bad tape on the day, bad order flow, low relative volume, looking at patterns in an echo like pattern myopia, FOMO, exiting too early, exiting too late, not following my trading plan, not following my game plan. I mean, I could go on and on. I think the most important thing, the most important lesson for me to learn was to accept that the job of the market is to humble me and to really just bring down my revs, accept my limitations, and really wait, be patient and wait for the right trade at the right time for me. And that has kept me out of some really bad situations.
Okay, Derrick, how about you?
Similar to JR, I feel like I've made every mistake under the sun. And actually, I feel like that's one of the reasons why I am a good teacher in trading, is because, you had a bad day today, you made a mistake. To some degree, I can commiserate because I've made that mistake. I can almost promise you. For me, though, there's been two kind of bigger things. One, I feel like I got over some years ago now. I used to have a bad habit of fighting stock. You stop yourself out, you see it uptick like 10 cents. Oh my God, I knew my idea was right. And I'm also highly competitive. I actually was a professional athlete. I was a professional fighter of all things. So I want to fight stock. And that was a problem for me for a long time. I had to adjust my trading approach and adjust my game plans in such a way based on my trader personality, which is something I had to spend years figuring out also, so that I could trade in such a way that's advantageous for the person that I am. And since I made those adjustments, I don't really have that problem of fighting stock anymore. But I can tell you the biggest losses I've ever had in my entire trading career, it's almost always been the same thing. It's when I was so focused on how brilliant my idea was and how much money I was going to make that I didn't take the time to create a game plan for how I was going to manage risk on it. And I'm buying stock based on how much I'm going to make when it goes in my favor, and not buying stock, which is the right way to do it, buying stock based on how much I'll lose if the idea is wrong. Those have been very consistently over the course of my career, been several incidences, the biggest losses that I've taken. And that's why risk management is number one. Stay humble. Any idea that you have, I don't care how A+ the setup is, we work in a game of probabilities. There will be that time, even if it's the greatest trade in the world, there will be a 1 in 1,000 chance that it will fail. What are you going to do when that trade fails? And for me, not recognizing that ahead of time has led to the biggest losses in my career.
Okay, well said. So let's move on to ideas. So Sami, I'm going to start with you. A quick follow-up on Fiverr. So last week, Fiverr was at 30.73. It is, and Derrick bought it like on the spot, which turned out to be a good move. It's up about, it's almost at 33 right now. So Sami, do you still like Fiverr? And can you tell us about anything else you like? I know you selected UMAC before.
Oh no, that was as a day trade. The Fiverr, is that the name? Yeah, Fiverr. I like it long term, but I didn't mention it. I didn't mention it as a short-term trade. I do like it long-term still, but short-term, it's moved up a lot. I think it probably needs to consolidate for a little bit, but I love it on the monthly chart for sure.
Okay, are there any other names you like here?
Are there any other names? There's always like lots of stuff. Maybe I should project for a minute if I can. Can I take control? Yeah, let me do that right now. So share screen. No. It's not. Is it share screen?
Yeah. Hit present.
Oh yeah.
And then share screen.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you. So bear with me for just a second, please, so I can share. I try to not mention like swing ideas that will only last for a day or two. Mm-hmm. So here's what I like. Let's just get rid of the swatch list. Okay, first of all, I like this NWL, right? Actually, sorry, the FVRR. So the reason why I like it is because it has that pattern that I love on the monthly chart. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit, and here's the monthly chart. It just looks lovely. Another one that looks just like it, but might not be quite ready, is the RNG. They're almost identical, aren't they? RNG and then VSH. So I'm sorry, not VSH. VSH is a day trade that we did today. The FVRR. So those two on the monthly look great. Another one that I like a lot is, believe it or not, Charter. I wish I bought it on earnings. I thought about it, but I didn't do it. And now Charter has that's a nice weekly buy setup, nice consolidation. And I think Charter, that's another transition A setting up on the monthly. Looks pretty good. Last week I mentioned the RH, same exact pattern, and I called it on Wednesday in the newsletter, but it gapped just over the entry. So RH, I like. I'm watching for an entry on it. I also like the NWL. Beautiful daily, really bullish after a gap up. If you look at the monthly, same exact pattern, starting to curl on the monthly chart. there's a lot. I mean, Moderna might be bottoming also. We played it a couple days ago in the newsletter, and we got it on this day. The next day, gap to target. Daily doesn't look good, but it actually might have bottomed. The CHGG might have also bottomed, believe it or not. That's another garbage pattern, but on the daily chart. So it's interesting. I have so many, but I don't want to, like, like we're in the pen. It's one of the last casino stocks to possibly be bottoming. So the monthly doesn't look very ready, very, very good, but the weekly is good. The daily is good. So I like it. The China stocks, I noticed that Trump tweeted about the tariffs and they didn't budge. So the yen popped already. I had in the newsletter today the BABA as a swing idea and the JD, which looks better because of the weekly chart, weekly bicep. So that's a pretty nice weekly chart on the JD. So I think the China stocks might be time to start looking to play long. The strongest China stock is the QFIN, which I was in but got shaken out. This is the strongest. Again, what type of a pattern? It's the same thing on the monthly chart. So this is headed to the all-time high. I am sure of it. But it's up a lot. Daily is not too bad too. Is that the daily? Oh, that's the hourly. Okay. Daily is not too bad still. But yeah, that's kind of the strongest. Let's see. What else do I like? So the REGN, that's on the hourly chart, trying to bottom. So here it is. That's a nice hourly. Again, rounded bottom on the hourly. The VFC, I don't think it's quite ready on the monthly, but the VFC is a watch. Let's see. I'm looking at my SLN is a beautiful daily chart. It just needs to pop over 780 if you want as a swing. That's a little bit thin. And then I do like some of the cheap stock, not cheap stocks, but the dollar store stocks. DLTR, I'm waiting for an entry on that. DG, I think, is not very good, but those two, the DLTR especially. So I have a bunch of ideas, nothing that I absolutely love right here. The JD would be nice, but it's already gapped up, so that's a little late. And then the NWL is maybe for next week. SLN for today, if you're not in, but I'm already in. But if it takes out 780, I like it higher as a climactic buy setup, similar to the CAT X, which is already an open position. The UMAC that I mentioned was off the 5-minute. See, UMAC, not UMC, UMAC. See that nice climactic move? We shorted today the VSH, up, short, and especially because the daily was up a lot of bars in a row. That makes it better. So that's kind of what I'm looking to see happen on the Nvidia, but to the downside. If it can accelerate, then it would be ready. But for now, it's kind of rolling over. So, all right. And that's kind of my take on things. Mike, you're muted. You're muted.
I'm having a very, very bad with Nvidia down this much. I can't concentrate. I'm just a mess today. Okay, JR, how about you? You do like Nvidia here. You are claiming Sami is dead wrong. You like Nvidia here. So what else do you like?
Hey, take that back, Michael. Come on, take that back.
But listen, this is things are getting a little wild. I've been given a mandate from management to cause more trouble because it's good for ratings. So
I'm sharing my screen. Can you just put it on for a second?
Yes, sir.
All right. So this is the bull case for Nvidia. Okay. In terms of price volume analysis, you have a major point of most traded volume here is 121. You could have a very bearish type of liquidation break of the top of value here, and a very, very high volume type of climactic selling into 121.42. For how I trade, given where we are in terms of this very orderly regression channel and the confluence here of your quarter to date anchor view up, which is right around here, continuation of the bull trend is more likely than not. Okay. So we have really thin profile up here, obviously, because you're dealing with all-time highs in Nvidia. So I do think that the trend will continue. The real question is, do they buy? Do they hold the bid here at the bottom of the regression channel, or do they have one more secondary leg flush into point of control. So I agree with what I'm saying, but I completely see Sammy's point in terms of a little climactic selling there. As far as other things I'm looking at, I don't really love anything here, but I love some things that are developing. So we, in terms of, a lot of these retail names, we bought Lulu, I think, through 281, sold some into the daily 200. I'm looking for a whole other measured move leg higher to like 370. Datadog on the weekly, we bought it at 135, and now I'm looking for the weekly inside bar breakout and a measured move of this igniting bar here to take us into the 180 handle. So if you didn't catch the first, this is a little bit of a more aggressive play, but look how strong this base breakout on Datadog is. I think Square dip buyers are going to get an opportunity for an inside bar breakout at around 93.36 to 111. Okay, I think this move is just starting, so I think there's opportunities there. Starbucks, we took it through 99.50 a couple of weeks ago. I think all pullbacks are viable at this point. I think it's going to do great into the holidays. 111.15. So INSM, which we bought back in May, we're still holding on to this one. It's wanting to break out on the monthly. Okay, so look at that monthly buy setup. It's like, hello, 78.15. Looks fantastic. So there's a lot of things I'm looking to do with existing positions and waiting for the market to decide what to do when we come back after Thanksgiving. So I think there's a lot to do.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Derrick, how about you? What are you liking here? What are you not liking?
So Nvidia right here, right now, if it can break through this like 132.60 to 132.80 zone, it probably needs a little help from the Qs to break up out of this downtrend that it's been. Also, I think we get a move into 134 today, which is what I'm looking for. We had that little just false break through 132 on the downside that has actually made the stock stronger. I love when it works that way. So I'm looking at Nvidia right now. But so first of all, a couple things. One, shout out to Sammy. I bought that FVRR literally as he said it last Wednesday, and I got out of it like a couple trading sessions ago or whatever. It was a great little chop. So love that we're doing this. I hope that the people who are following along with us are making money also, because that was a fantastic call. I loved the chart when you brought it up. So again, big shout out there. Nvidia, I just talked about. The problem with letting Sammy go first is that he talks about every stock in the S&P 500 and doesn't really leave much to talk about. But I'm really bullish on the China trade. That was the one that I was going to bring up. Sammy talked about it already, but I can add some more information to it. So if you go back to, and maybe I can do a screen share also, so I can be like these other cool guys. Screen share. Boom. All right. If we go back on just the FXI real quick, this insane move, right, which was so awesome on both sides. I caught it long and short, late September through early October, that the entirety of that move. What caused China to all of a sudden announce that they're going to be doing stimulus again? It was the Fed in the United States cutting interest rates. And the read through on that was that we were going to get some weakening in the dollar. Obviously that didn't happen, but that was the initial read through on that. China's number one concern right now is making sure that the yuan does not get devalued. They want to stimulate their economy, but they're not going to do it if it risks their currency. So all of a sudden we had this terrible move back down in these Chinese stocks that, like FXI is not terrible, but if you look at Baidu, 100% reversal of that move to make new lows. Alibaba, pretty nasty also. Broke out from like 85.50 or so and traded below 85.50 this week and end of last week. So they really wrecked these stocks back down from that insane top that we had. But a lot of that is because of the dollar. It's because Trump was elected, and Trump, obviously, everyone knows, is fairly anti-China with the tariffs and everything else. But then something really interesting happened this week where Trump decided to put Scott Bessent in as his Treasury Secretary. And I kind of feel like, for lack of a better term, economically, he's being viewed a little bit as like an adult in the room. And he's going to say, hey, let's be a little bit cautious on our tariffs. Let's ease into that. And then what did you see? Immediately, you saw TLT give a huge pop higher. So interest rates went lower, and the move up in the dollar completely stalled out. At the same time, the data that I'm seeing shows that the systematic funds, are like the CTAs, are in the 99th percentile right now in terms of their long exposure to the dollar. So my original fears that could derail the entire equity market rally that we're having is an interest rate blow up or the dollar just continuing to move up the way that it was. And now I think that fear is getting past, is done for at least the short run. Putting him in charge as Treasury Secretary has reduced interest rates. It's brought the dollar down. And when you combine that with dollar positioning being like max long right now, the risk is to the downside. So when the dollar weakens out, that immediately positively impacts the Chinese stocks. And on top of that, it can actually give wiggle room for the Chinese government to input more and further stimulus. So I'm already long Alibaba. I got pretty aggressive on that on the low a few trading sessions ago. I'm long JD as well. And then I said to myself this morning, I don't even think I have enough exposure as I'm seeing this dollar breakdown. So I initiated a new decently large position in YINN in the yin, this levered thing, also looking for an initial price target of $35 on the upside in this yen. So I'm pretty heavy now as of today on China exposure. With that thought process, I think that the technicals collaborate the idea as well. Sami kind of went over the technicals, so I'll leave it at that. But broadly, I would say I'm just still super bullish on this market. I'm in 35 positions right now. One of them is short. It's Palantir. The other 34 positions are long bets on this market. There's a massive amount of just forced buying that's coming in every single day right now. We have $6 billion a day coming from the corporates. If realized vol stays at 0.5% or less, it's like another $5.5 billion worth of SPX buying day over the course of the next couple of weeks. Can the market pull down? Of course, it can always pull down, but any pull downs are just running right into just this massive amount of forced demand that's coming into the market. I'm bullish. It's a side I'm sticking on. I'll reassess in 2025.
Excellent, Derrick. I love the conviction. I think everybody out there. So guys, if you want to have a good holiday, if you want to make your family happy, you go to t3live.com/Black Friday and you spend all the money you can. That's how you thank us. Remember, the show is absolutely free. So it's time to pay up. Let's go. t3live.com/Black Friday. And let us know, should we come back next week? Type yes or no in the chat. I'm starting to think some people out there are not grateful for all the wonderful insights they're receiving. So I'm thinking about canceling the show. So just let us know, yes or no in the chat. Should we come back next week? You can say no. Don't be afraid. Ryan's saying yes. Dan the Man saying yes. Sunny Smiles saying yes. Yep, we're getting a whole bunch of yeses. Okay, so you guys have bought one more week. But next time, everybody's on thin ice. You're on notice. t3live.com/Black Friday. Thank you, everybody. This was a lot of fun. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Bye-bye, guys.